Hi, welcome to the channel. Deployment is crucial in any game of 40k. It's going to help you score points, help you deny your opponent's scoring, keep your units safe, and provide the launch pad for your attacks. I've pulled together 3 tips that's going to help you level up your deployment. Number 1, understand the mission. Read and understand what the mission is you're playing. What are the primary objectives? How many objectives do you need to hold to score points? This also helps you know how many to hold to stop your opponent scoring. Can your army actually hold primary objectives? You need to be setting up to be holding the objectives you need from turn 2. Infiltrate and scout abilities are great to help you do this. Ask your opponent whether they can do this as well. If you both have infiltrate, then consider using yours to screen out their ones in the best places. Scout is great to push forward into central areas and exert control on the mission. Always think what the mission requires. Number 2, evaluate your opponents. Every matchup will bring its own challenges and your army will perform better in certain areas. Have a think where your strengths lie. Is it shooting, melee, board control, movement? And of course, which areas your army is better than your opponent's. Think, how are you going to win the matchup? Do you need to keep your units safe? Does your army want to deliver a threat overload? Are there certain targets you want to aim for that are key for your opponent's army? You will build up an idea of a plan. Thinking those things through will help you understand where your units need to be able to execute your plan. It means your deployment has purpose rather than just sticking things down. This can be difficult to do, so you can always flip it on its head sometimes and think, how will your opponent beat you? Is it their shooting or speed, for example? Then you can set up to stop their plan. If they're a shooting army, look at the firing lines, ask what their gun ranges are, consider in their turn they'll be able to move and then get some good shooting angles. It'll help you plan better to keep your units safer. If they are fast and punch hard like World Eaters, consider how far they can travel. Can you slow them down with units? Can you bait out an important unit which you can then kill? Think about your counterattack plans. All this comes from understanding your unit's function in the army. There are expendable units used to screen, deny scoring, keeping your opponent at bay. There are your damage dealing units, and then you have point scoring units. Think about how your deployment will allow those units to perform their function to the best of their ability. Number 3, terrain is really important. Most games have fixed layout for terrain. You can identify which terrain pieces help you with your plan. If you go player place terrain, then you have more control over making sure the terrain works in your advantage. Terrain that blocks line of sight is key to keeping your army safe by staying behind it. When you set up units that you want to keep safe, think about your opponent's shooting and where their units can move to get line of sight. If you go second, you want them to remain safe. When staging behind terrain, think about where your units can get to in the next turn or 2. Are they going to be able to achieve the function you want from them? Only infantry can move through walls, so consider the journey that other units have to go, as it can make their movement quite long to get around terrain. In my last tournament I played a Great Unclean one and its function was sitting and holding an objective, but it is slow. Hiding behind a building, it would mean it would struggle to get on an objective in quite a few turns. So my plan was to rely on its resilience, position it aggressively at the front of the deployment zone and get it onto an objective turn 1. If a unit has scout move, can it be positioned so it can get into some terrain forwards and still be safe? If you hide at the back of the table, will your guns get range even if you move forwards? The terrain is an extension of your army. It's a toolbox that you can use to your advantage. So you understand the mission and how to score well in it. You have a plan for how to defeat your opponents. And then you've deployed using the terrain to be able to execute that plan. I'd say the biggest challenge is still to come. You've done a perfect setup, then you get first turn, and then you have to move and spoil it all. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for upcoming videos about how to deal with turn 1. I hope this video was useful though, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.